Bonjour, good morning. My name is André Roy, and I have the privilege to be the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Science at Concordia. On this beautiful fall day, I'm delighted to welcome all of our graduates, their families and friends, and our distinguished guests for the fall 2016 Convocation ceremony. Je vous souhaite personnellement la bienvenue en ce grand jour de collation des grades. Convocation is always a highlight of our academic year, but even more so for our graduating class. Today, let us celebrate our students for their efforts and achievements and wish them all the best in their future endeavors. Diplômés, nouveaux diplômés, félicitations. Graduating class, congratulations, bravo. Now, would everyone please join Ms. Colleen Bartley, mezzo-soprano, in singing The Whole Canada.
Good morning and congratulations, félicitations. I learned not long ago that in a clear night sky, when we look out into that bright darkness, for every star we see, there are 50 million more behind them. Derrière chaque étoile réside une brillance superbe et insondable. And as I stand here today and look out, I see hundreds of stars shining with joy and a sense of accomplishment. Vous, nos diplômés, êtes nos étoiles d'aujourd'hui. And I wonder, what are the stars behind you? Long-cherished hopes and challenges that made you grow? Determination and a sense of adventure, and the belief in endless possibilities? Promises you made to yourselves, or the gift of diversity? Le soutien des vôtres et la confiance en soi sont-elles les étoiles derrière vous? So, as we pause to reflect and celebrate, let us be thankful for the stars behind and around and within us. And let us resolve to keep shining. Rayonnons comme les étoiles. And let us illuminate this world with peace and hope and understanding. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir.
Dear graduates, invités distingués, mesdames et messieurs, félicitations à chacun et chacune de nos nouveaux diplômés en cette magnifique journée de réjouissance. Graduation is a special day for support networks, your families, loved ones, and friends, as well as the Concordia community and your fellow alumni who have collectively collaborated with you to make this day possible. I am thrilled and honored to share this special milestone with you. La valeur d'une formation universitaire est incontestable et en obtenant votre diplôme, vous avez acquis un grand avantage dans notre société, Mais il y a autre chose. The lessons gleaned from textbooks and professors were just the beginning. Your challenge now is how to acquire knowledge on your own, using the education and skills you developed here at Concordia. We stop growing when we stop learning, and therefore the road to success is truly always under construction. Take it from me, I'm a 66-year-old work in progress. Success is not determined by financial wealth or even the approval of our peers, but rather success is defined by the extent to which we are able to build our communities and help our fellow citizens. There's a famous maxim that says, we make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. Our backgrounds and circumstances may have influenced who we are, but we are all responsible for who we become. You must continue to be open with outstretched arms and open hands, to be willing to receive, but also to give. Define success by the degree to which you positively affect people in your lives. En tant que citoyenne, avertie et engagée, vous, les diplômés, êtes bien placés pour exercer une influence extrêmement bénéfique sur notre monde en évolution constante. Progress and change now squarely lie in your hands. As Buckminster Fuller said, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. There is no shortage of opportunity to get involved. There is no methodology that cannot be improved, and no science, engineering, art, or business that cannot be enhanced by the energy, enthusiasm, and skills you all possess. To thrive rather than merely survive, you will have to be adaptable and resilient. You will have to be leaders of change, not followers. Do not be afraid to lead, not only by example, but also by exerting a positive influence on those around you. Remember that if you elevate others, you elevate yourselves. I know that for many of you, this is a period that can be unsettling given the uncertainty that may lie ahead. You are transitioning from an environment where everyone told you what you should do to an environment where you now have to decide for yourself what you want to do. Wherever you go and whatever you do, the harvest of knowledge, experience, and values that you've learned and absorbed at Concordia will be as relevant for society as you make it. Be bold, be imaginative, be prepared to fail, to continue to learn, and to succeed. Trust me, you can and will make a difference if you follow your passions. When you discover your passion, you will find your life to be an absolute joy. Je vous encourage à rêver, à explorer les choses qui n'existent pas encore, puisque c'est ainsi que vous allez changer le monde et bâtir l'avenir. I am happy that we share a meaningful connection through Concordia, and I hope that today is the beginning of your new lifelong bond with our university and your community. I wish you all good luck, good health, and good fortune. Chapeau et merci. I would now like to ask President Alan Shepard for his remarks.
Bonjour, bienvenue à tous et à toutes. To our graduates, congratulations. A university degree is always a major achievement, and in our 21st century knowledge society, it's a vital one. So much the better if your degree comes from an institution with a strong reputation like Concordia's. Université urbaine et engagée, Concordia puise ses forces dans l'essence même de ses établissements fondateur, le Loyola College, qui, suivant la philosophie jésuite, privilégiait le service à la collectivité. et la Sir George Williams University, qui s'attache à offrir une éducation de qualité au plus grand nombre plutôt que du prestige à une certaine élite. Concordia was and remains ahead of its time. In knowledge economies around the world, collaborative networks integrated into their local communities will displace exclusive ivory towers. The Concordia of today has equipped you for your future in a world that admires your can-do attitude, your entrepreneurial energy, and your ambition to make the world a better place. Concordia is now part of your DNA. While we may never know quite what the future holds, one thing is certain. As you progress through your career and your lives, change will continue to accelerate. You may find you need a knowledge or skills tune-up, or you may just want to indulge your love of learning. Concordia will be here to welcome you back for a night class or a MOOC, a diploma, or another university degree. Tout comme vous, notre université Nouvelle Génération poursuit son évolution. Nous avons lancé l'an dernier une nouvelle vision stratégique. Of the 9 strategic directions we've established, the one most on my mind today is something every one of our graduates can take with them, to take pride. When I'm out and about talking to the team of Concordia ambassadors you joined today, our 200,000 alumni around the world, the respect, the gratitude, the pride they have in this institution and the doors they were able to open with Concordia's help, those are the recurring themes. You know best the value of the education you've received here. I hope you'll tell others. Stay in touch with each other, stay in touch with us. Bonne chance, et félicitations, et merci.
Mr. Chancellor, it is my honor to present to you award-winning journalist and veteran foreign correspondent, Ms. Nahla Ayed. Ms. Ayed is a first-generation Canadian whose parents came to Canada as Palestinian refugees. She has spent much of her career covering the Middle East, filing reports for CBC television and radio and its online operations. Her journalism covers a part of the world where reporting often lacks depth or an understanding of the region. It regularly challenges Canadian viewers and listeners while explaining the enormous complexities of the area. She is a skilled reporter who maintains the highest level of journalistic integrity. Canadians have come to depend on Ms. Ayed's stories for their insightful analysis about some of the world's most dangerous places. While many journalists gather information from the safety of protected zones, Ms. Ayed has always sought out the facts from the front lines and from those most affected by unfolding events. Perhaps you saw a recent Fifth Estate where Ms. Ayed documented the harrowing plight of refugees trying to flee to Europe by boat. She does her reporting often at great personal risk. At times, she's been physically attacked or threatened to be shot. She's even survived the bombing at Kahadimiya Mosque in Baghdad, which killed over 80 people. Ms. Ayed's reports have also been technologically groundbreaking for her profession. During her coverage of the 2007 referendum in Alexandria, Egypt, she was the first correspondent to file stories using a laptop with a webcam. This is now standard practice in journalism. In 2012, Ms. Ayed published 1,000 Farewells, a reporter's journey from refugee camp to the Arab Spring. It was shortlisted for the Governor General's Awards for Literary Merit for the best in Canadian nonfiction. Her memoir is an insightful analysis of what it's like to be an Arab-speaking Palestinian Canadian and a woman working in conflict zones. Ms. Ayed has garnered much-deserved praise for her work. In 2002, her series on the living conditions in Canadian women's prisons won a citation for the Michener Award for Meritorious Journalism. She has received the President's Award from the Canadian Press and the Livewire Award for her coverage of the Afghanistan conflict, as well as several Story of the Year and Story of the Month awards from the Canadian Press. Ms. Ayad and CBC colleague Diane Grant won the Canadian Association of Journalists Award for Human Rights Reporting for their story on Hungarian Roma seeking asylum in Canada. She was a finalist for the 2012 JSOURCE Newsperson of the Year Award and has been nominated for 3 Gemini Awards for her television reports from Iraq, Iran, and Egypt. Ms. Ayad's stories reflect the human elements of the places she covers. She shares with us the important voices of people who are often ignored. She exemplifies how even-handed, compassionate, and courageous journalism can affect change in the world. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate and the Board of Governors, it is my distinct privilege and honor to present to you Ms. Nahla Ayad so that you may confer upon her the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
I would like to ask Dr. Ayad to now give her remarks to the Convocation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Mr. Chancellor, Mr. Chairman of the Board of Governors, Mr. President and Vice Chancellor, honored platform guests, graduating class, and family and friends. I can't possibly thank you enough for this incredible honor, especially for welcoming me into the Concordia family and for the privilege of speaking to you today. The last time I graduated was also a fall convocation like yours. It was 16 years ago, not that long ago. It was actually a 4th convocation I'd had by then, because although 5 if you count grade 9. I admit that I was for a time a bit of a professional student, very serious about my education, but also a little bit of a dreamer. That initially did not sit well with my father, and I'm sure that'll echo somewhere in the back there, who preferred to speak about my career plans using the collective we. I, early on, wanted to study music. We can do better, he would say. So ultimately, we decided to enroll in science. I did well, but I didn't do well enough to get into med school, which was our collective dream. So instead, I decided to parlay that dream into a BSc and eventually into an MSc. But then I really came into my own, and I decided that I was going to skirt all that and go into an MJ. There definitely was no consensus on that, but by then I really knew what I wanted. Still, I returned to make we happy and finished the degree that I had started and that I had left behind, wrote a new thesis, and graduated again with an MA that we could all be proud of. So it's a long start to a journey of realizing my dreams, and you're about to embark on that journey, on the next leg of that journey, and hopefully in a straighter line than I did. Of course, that makes today not so much the end of a chapter as much as it is the start of an entirely new story. And so it is a moment that has the sound and the feel of turning a page or the revving of an engine or the starting up of a computer. That's how I imagine it. It's the opening of a story that's laced with words and feelings like apprehensive, like excited, perhaps anxious, overwhelmed, uncertain, maybe even downright lost. On top of all that, you happen to be pursuing your dreams in a world that is on the precipice of a new kind of uncertainty. Never before has the world quite looked the way it does right now on November 7th, 2016. To get serious for a moment, I mean, it is a time when intolerance has again gone mainstream. It's a time when it's become far easier to highlight differences than it is to look for common ground. It's a time when news is sometimes served up by algorithms, and when truth, frankly, has become optional. Your generation's war, and sadly every generation has one, is a supersized war. It's one of the most brutal in the modern age, despite its anything but modern tendency towards violence. The conflict in Syria is what I'm talking about. Is so deep that it has cleaved that region, but the whole world. It's affected us directly here in Canada in a way that we haven't seen in decades. It's also contributed to an unprecedented worldwide displacement of 65.3 million people with that many dreams that have been set aside because of oppression or because of conflict. About the same as the population of the UK, by the way, all clamoring for the right to pursue their dreams too. Why does that matter? Well, the pursuit of dreams has always been an equalizer. It's what we all strive for and what we all struggle for, as I've said and seen repeatedly around the world. So from the 11-year-old boy that I remember in India who learned how to embroider so he could help support his family, to the young woman who, unlike me, did have the marks and did get into medical school and graduated as a doctor from a school in Damascus. And if people aren't pursuing dreams, they're often in desperate pursuit of the opportunity to pursue dreams. People like the young men and women that I met last month taking on the whole of the Mediterranean Sea, an entire sea, in an unthinkably dangerous attempt to get at a better life. To try, despite impossible odds, to float away in search of reliable terra firma. They have no choice but to take the long, dangerous way to pursuing their dreams. And when I asked actually one of them what she hoped to do when she got to Europe, she said to have fun, like you. It's amazing what we take for granted. But for the random fate to be born in a place that no one would willingly choose, very little separates them from you and me. You too have chosen light over darkness, to struggle and strive to reach for the certainty of knowledge over the seas of ignorance, to drift away from dead ends to possibility. The difference is you've been doing it without risking your life. And yet we all know, and that's why we're here today, that your pursuit was not and is not without risk or sacrifice. I urge you to look around right now, to consider the struggles and the sacrifices that it took to fill this big room. The struggles of the students, but also the sacrifices of the parents, like my mother and father, who gave everything to defend your and my right just to dream. Think of the long hours that they worked, or the long distances they traveled, the poverty or the cruelty they endured and survived in so many corners of this country, but also around the world, just to get you here today. So as you look forward, I urge you to remember all that. Remember all these faces in this room, and to be proud. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid at all. There's no reason to be. To think big, to do justice to the sheer size of their ambitions for you. And I urge you to draw inspiration from your own potential to do good, not just here in Canada, but around the world. Ask those like your parents who know that having hope, so I'm asking you to be hopeful too, is the only way to ensure that your dreams are realized. But to also be patient, especially with yourselves, because sometimes there is no avoiding the long way to realizing your dreams. You know, if I can leave you with one thought, just one thought, it's that there is no right way to pursue your dreams. I can attest to that. But remember, my fathers, we look to you for hope as well. At a time, as I mentioned, when intolerance has gone mainstream, we look to you for broad-mindedness, to defend equality, no matter the religion, the color, sexual orientation, or any other of the convenient excuses that humans use to differentiate themselves from others or to pretend they're better than others. At a time when it is easier to highlight difference, we look to you to find common ground, to use your knowledge to build bridges, both of the figurative and the concrete kind, to connect us, not walls that keep us apart. And at a time when the truth has become optional, we look to you to stand up for it. We also look to you to make room for our messy world in the pursuit of your dreams, because there is no escaping it. My father was right. It is a collective exercise, all of this. So we are all invested in the promise that you represent. So by pursuing your dreams to the best of your ability, you're actually pursuing our dreams. And so whatever is happening outside these walls, whatever happens tomorrow, or in 6 weeks, or in 6 months, or in 6 years, in this room, with you present, today has the promising feel of that turning of a page, the revving of an engine, and the unfolding of a wide open future. It is the start of something huge, big, something inspiring, hard-won, and really precious. Congratulations, and thank you very much.
Dr. Ayed, I, would like to thank you for sharing your journey and your dreams with us here today, one filled with passion and with courage and with a voice that has been shared with the entire world and today our students. We thank you. I would now like to ask the Provost to bestow the honors upon our graduates.
Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of Senate, I present to you the candidates for the doctoral and doctorate degrees, for the master and magisteriate degrees, and for the graduate diplomas and certificates in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. I certify that these candidates have fulfilled the requirements for these degrees, diplomas, and certificates. Monsieur le Chancelier, au nom du Sénat, je vous présente les candidats au doctorat et à la maîtrise, ainsi qu'au diplôme et au certificat de deuxième cycle de la Faculté des Arts et des Sciences. J'atteste qu'ils satisfont aux exigences de ces grades, diplômes et certificats. Will the doctoral and doctorate, master and magisteriate, diploma and certificate candidates please stand?
By the powers granted in the University Charter, I admit each of you to the appropriate degree, diploma, or certificate as approved by Senate and certified by the Provost. En vertu de l'autorité que me confère le charte de l'université et fort de l'approbation du Sénat et de l'attestation de vice-rectorat exécutif aux affaires académiques, je vous décerne les grades, diplômes ou certificats que vous postulez. Please be seated.
Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of Senate, I present to you the candidates for the bachelor and baccalaureate degrees for the undergraduate certificates in the Faculty of Arts and Science. I certify that these candidates have fulfilled the requirements for these degrees. Monsieur le Chancelier, au nom du Sénat, je vous présente les candidats et candidates au baccalauréat ainsi qu'au certificat au premier cycle de la Faculté des Arts et des Sciences. J'atteste qu'ils satisfont aux exigences de ces grades. Will the bachelor and baccalaureate and undergraduate certificate candidates please stand?
By the powers granted in the University Charter, I admit each of you to the appropriate degree or certificate as approved by Senate and certified by the Provost. en vertu de l'autorité que me confère la Charte de l'Université et fort de l'approbation du Sénat et de l'attestation de vice-rectorat exécutif aux affaires académiques, je vous décerne les grades ou certificats que vous postulez. Please be seated. While our graduates prepare to cross the stage, I invite you to enjoy the music of the Encore Brass Quintet. Thank you.
I'm pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Doctor of Doctorate in Philosophy from the following programs: Biology, Chemistry, Communication, Education, History, Humanities, Arts and Science. Amandeep Glory. Shayego Ustadu. Irina Schleifer.
Walters Ajit Tibung. Miriam Essakir. Azra Rashid. Krista Melanie Riley. Christopher Blair Alexander. Audrey Dahl. Renee Jackson. Lisa Jorgensen. Rosemary O'Flaherty. Nathalie Duchesne. Abelardo Leon. Philip Lines. I'm pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Doctorate in Philosophy from the following programs: Individualized Program, Arts and Social Science, Mathematics, Physics, Political Science, Psychology, Religion, Special Individualized Program, Social Sciences. Peter Zoren. Sahar Bahrami. Bharat Kumar Sharma. Shireen Abu Hatum. Christopher Cardoso. Elizabeth Ann Hébert. Matthew Keogh. Danielle Kylene Kingdon. Hannah Camille Levy. Jessica Sen. Daniel Sparks. Jessica Yacht. Michelle Bucker. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following program, Applied Linguistics. Christine Beaulieu. Suzanne Soretta. Jordan Clark. Fouad Eshassa. Jenica Grimshaw. Lauren Strachan. Kimberly Taylor. I'm pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Science from the following programs: Biology, Chemistry. Julie Arrowsmith. Alexander Campbell. Vicky Lushman. Rami Khaled Rafa. Zachary Wiltshire. Hainia Payman. Regine Sivekmar. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following programs: Child Studies, Educational Studies, Educational Technology, Economics, and English. Emma House-Hawkins. Jeffrey Moore. Marilyn Richards Douglas. Yi Tian. Shirazad Bakarali. Najla Mohammad Hamad. Murad Majdoub. John Murray. Dalia Radwan. Xingji Zhen. Sibo Gu. MD Muharraf Hussain. Jessica Labrie. Claire Maduka. Abisola Olakami. Karine Ojarabu. Cecia Velasquez-Berg. Rachel Burlock. Mark Schmidt. Natasha Simard. Caitlin Spencer. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Science from the following programs: Exercise Science, Geography, Urban and Environmental Studies. Tanya Babiak-Henry. Angela Dawn Parker. Judith Plante. Ali Yazdizadeh. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following programs: Hispanic Studies, History, History and Philosophy of Religion, Human Systems Intervention. Francisco Garcia. Kate Abarbanel. Gregory Coulter. Elliot Perrin. Lindsay Jackson. Sherry Blades. Emily Churchill Smith. Adam Daniel.
Dina Frances Dykers.
Dina Frances Dykers. Teresa Humphreys. Alana Robinson. Susanna Ray Rothschild. I'm pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following programs: Individualized Program, Arts, Social Science; Individualized Program, Classics, Languages, Linguistics; Individualized Program, Humanities. Christine Franks. Sigouane Tiverge. I'm pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following programs: Journalism Studies, Media Studies, Littérature francophone et résonance médiatique. Anne Edimo. Alicia Cross. Rainforest Scully Blaker. Gabrielle Erneven. I'm pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts and Master of Magisteriate in Science from the following program: Mathematics. Clara Lacrocha. Erin Murray. Nat Linvaux. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following program: Philosophy. Deanne Beraldo. I'm pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Master of Magisteriate in Arts from the following programs: Psychology, Public Policy and Public Administration, Social and Cultural Anthropology, Sociology, Theological Studies, Traductologie. Faisal Al-Yawer. Kimberly Burnside. Chelsea de Estrella. Janie Ducheneau. Saskia Ferrer. Franca Lacroix. Lawrence Lai. Mark William Leinhart. Sarah Newcomb Anjo. Leah Wright. Prince Pa Ejay. Francis Boyer. Alessandra Giuliano. Chantal Gonzalez Lopez. Fatima Herji. Teodora Mihailova. Nathaniel Pitt. Vindhya Senaviratna. Hilary Alexandra Collier Duquette. Jesse Robert Drucker. Daniel Tesselin. Alea Paulin. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the graduate program in the following programs: Biotechnology and Genomics, Clinical Psychology, Communication Studies, Community Economic Development, Economics, Environmental Assessment, Traduction, Youth Work. Julia Dick. Hoda Tudeshka. Donovan Thorimbert. Christina Brooke. Anna Campanella. Harisha Kapoor. Alexandria Lalos. Iman Makrum. Sabrina Panagiotopoulos. Arshdeep Samra.
I'm pleased to introduce you to the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following department: Applied Human Sciences. Morgan Aubin. Mark Belvedere. Afifa Chaudhry. Brianna Cochrane. Alex Guillaume Tardif. Christelle Elliott. Paris Fatousat Zubris. Candace Ruth Frank. Omega Julien.
Mohamed Kawaja.
Mohamed Kawaja. Leah Angeline Mahate. Corey Maguire.
Cecilia Moncada.
Cecilia Moncada. Luisa Moscardi. Moher Nahabedian. Trina Padulo. Alicia Pazzano. Megan Somerville. Ordisa Stewart. Elena Triassi with distinction. Tiffany Verdon. I'm pleased to introduce you to the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following departments: Biology, Chemistry, and Biochemistry. Erica Simakopoulos with distinction. Megan Davis with distinction. Antonia Ibanez. Joanna Capta. Philippe Lamotte with great distinction. Catherine Levasseur. Megan Smith. Shalaya Emmanuel Ube with distinction. Emily Welsh Crack. Noral Al-Deri with distinction.
Daisy Butera.
Daisy Butera. Yasmin Sharara with distinction. Giuseppe De Luca. Murna Murabi Georgiou. Mazyar Jafari. Abdulaziz Walid Nazro with distinction.
I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the undergraduate certificate in the following programs: Applied Human Sciences, Education, Études Français, Interdisciplinary Studies, and Theological Studies. Michelle Purdy. Lina Saar. Reem Shada. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following departments: Classics, Modern Language and Linguistics, Communication Studies, Economics, Education. Vanessa Cordero Rodriguez. Panayota Pamela Carabineras. Hélène Pilbeam with distinction. Fanny Poudrier Tremblay with distinction. Erica Ron Pedrique Rivas. Sabrina Sa. Colby Sparks with great distinction. Rebecca Bidner-Goldstone with distinction. Jenna Dick. Lori Edmonds. Bronwyn Ford. Anastasia Lafond. Michelle Meiklejohn with distinction. Maël Ramsey. François Robillard. Andre Rolenberg. Nicholas Shelton with distinction. Lila Toure. Megan Grace Batley. Mark Arthur Chamus. Joanna Galanopoulos. Monish Jam. Jennifer Duca Manlagnet. Jazen Key. Michael Terracchino. Pierina Violante with distinction. Kevin Walsh. Yiwei Wang. Jennifer Bobby. Kayla Breaker. Amanda Insomnia. Jason Lum with distinction. Gabrielle Ohayan with distinction. Francesca Sicoli. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Education from the following department: Education. Alexa Love Tremblay. Raghi Nasra. Alyssa Jennifer Nasi. Georgia Revelakis. Lorianne Rogers with distinction. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following departments: English, Études Françaises. Camelia Amy Ziegler. Catherine Averbach with distinction. Kenja Banfield. Melissa Consorti. Kalale Dalton Lutale with distinction. Zachary Dennison. Sarah D'Souza. Zachary Ferry. George Girard. Rita Amanda Guerrera. Candice Hendrick with distinction. Filaretti Patronidis. Gerson Richer Laflèche. Katerina Sevelka. Elias Soutsakis. David Blondeau with great distinction. Aurélie Burel with distinction. Sarah Lee Cote. Emmanuel Renaud Arsenault with distinction. Marine Rizzoli with distinction. Maya Zapparoli with distinction. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following department: Exercise Science. Véronique Allard. LD Amazon. Michel Bilodeau. Erika Beauvais. Marie-Ève Brosseau. Dara Burnett with distinction. Jenna Cope with distinction. Kareem Halali. Christina Kovacs. Armando Nardelli with distinction. Nicholas Ngai. Payal Patel. Filaretti Patronidas with distinction. Moeen Sheikh. Jason Swinemer. Alden Sim. Minyi Zhang. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts and the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following department: Geography, Planning, and Environment. Chantal Barber. Amber Kaus. Sevda Nahidi. Silvana Rivera Dominguez. Margarita Makota. Sean Mazes. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following departments: History, Individual Studies Program, Journalism, and Liberal Arts College. Angel Aswallo with distinction. César Capelnen. Alec Desrosiers. Mark Hazenjan. Letwin Rousser. Julian McKenzie. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts and the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following department: Mathematics and Statistics. Kevin Yazbek. Paratheep Navaratnam with distinction. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following department: Philosophy. Antonio Sanchez Miller. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following department: Physics. Tyson Mahoney Stauber. I I am pleased to introduce to you the candidate for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following department: Political Science. Melissa Acceoli. Madalena Awad. Léa Bazan. Nima Bebout with distinction. Birsabel Behonin. Christina Magdalena Bradley. Valerie Deemer. Rami Ferez. Ketura Gittins. Patrick Holler. Zineb Laktid. Eve Mukangishai with distinction. Terence Engea. Andres Peñuela with distinction. Tatiana Saliba. Zachary Sentimentes. Anthony Toddy. Felix William Trepanier. Ali Usman. Matthew Watterson with distinction. Adrienne Ziga. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts and the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Science from the following department: Psychology. Franco Canzano with distinction. Elizabeth Duong. Nicholas Gubko. Maria Alejandra Heredia. Dita Kubin with great distinction. Sarai Ortiz Torres. Catherine Probonis. Charlotte Roddick with great distinction. Paul Noel Rousseau with great distinction. Gabrielle Cicada with distinction. Yaman Al-Kadre with distinction. Nicolas Brudor Champagne. Salome Dea with distinction. I am pleased to introduce to you the candidates for the Bachelor of Baccalaureate in Arts from the following departments: Religion, School of Canadian-Irish Studies, School of Community and Public Affairs, Simone de Beauvoir Institute, Sociology and Anthropology, and Theological Studies. Shalina Tripathi. Karine Brunet with great distinction. Angela Bruni. Madeline Follis. Claudia Diorio with distinction. Joseph Horn. Kaula Rashid with distinction. Emily Eklund with distinction. Ariane Olivia Ganem-Torre. Mina Cassandra Ira. Amal Taysir Ali. Camila Bayido Cabral. Cristina Maria Cabral. Kayla Kalori. Jamel Charles. Alessia Caroluna. Kimon Cruikshank. Leighton Gowdy Quinton. Andrew Fitzsimmons with distinction. Diana Harb with distinction. Michelle Jacques. Manuela Karlusic. Amritpal Kaur. Rachel LeMay Clendenning. Sochit Lopez Martinez. Deordra Maxwell. Alejandra Melian Morse with distinction. Erlis Olmos. Hannah Pearson. Selina Richard. Sandra Riley with distinction. Palmir Siré. Bella Siddiq. Amanda St. Marie. David Walker. Maria Karen Navallo. Alisa Novinsky. Lorraine Nadeau.
The Governor General's Silver Medal is awarded on behalf of His Excellency, the Governor General of Canada, to the highest-ranking undergraduate student graduating from Concordia University. She is graduating from the Department of Psychology with a near-perfect grade point average. It is with great pleasure that I announce this year's winner, Ms. Charlotte Roddick. The Governor General's Gold Medal, Technology, Industry, and the Environment is awarded on behalf of His Excellency, the Governor General of Canada, to the highest-ranking graduate student graduating from Concordia University. Dr. Derek Kyle O'Flaherty defended his PhD dissertation, Synthesis of Modified Thymidine and Intristan, Cross-Linked DNA Probes to Investigate Repair by O6. You're going to have to give me a chance here. Alkylguanine, DNA, alkylate transfeses, and bypass of human DNA polymerase N under the supervision of Dr. Christopher J. Wilds in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Dr. O'Flaherty's doctoral research tackled the synthesis of nucleobase and intristan, cross-linked DNA damage, and the investigation of processing by O6 alkoguanine, DNA alkotransferases, and Y family DNA polymerases. I made it, actually. His research has allowed him to acquire a very broad skill set in synthetic organic chemistry and biochemistry, mass spectrometry, and structural biology. Dr. O'Flaherty is currently a postdoctoral fellow at Harvard University. I would like to now introduce the valedictorian. Here once again is Dr. Derek Kyle O'Flaherty to deliver the valedictory address.
Thank you for the introduction. Chancellor Wiener, Chancellor Hébert, President and Vice Chancellor Shepard, Dr. Ayed, distinguished guests and participants, fellow students, families, and friends, I'm pleased to address you on behalf of the graduating class this morning. 5 years ago, I stood here giving the valedictorian speech as an undergrad, and now I've come full circle to give it as a graduate student. I guess they decided to give me a second chance to see if I could do better. Although it's been mentioned many times before, I would like to take a moment to congratulate each and every one of you. I've built a very strong community here at Concordia. We've all met new people and expanded our horizons to new aspects of our lives. I'm an exact case in point. I actually met my wife right here in the Department of Chem Biochem. Our community that we've established here at Concordia will continue to support us in each new project we undertake. Like you, I've learned many valuable lessons here at Concordia, maybe even more so since I did both my undergrad and my graduate studies here, an accumulation of almost a decade of my life. After this home stretch of schooling, it seems for as long as I can remember, I settled into the school routine. As an undergrad, most of our attention was focused on performing well in the classroom and in the labs. The graduate training, on the other hand, shifted heavily to conducting research, being innovative, and learning this very difficult new trade called publishing. I remember spending so much time worrying about exams and presentations and research only to realize that stressing over all of these things is kind of like running on a treadmill and actually expecting to get somewhere. I spent a lot of time trying to think what I could possibly say here today. And although I may not be able to summarize my entire experience, I'd like to share with you 2 of the many lessons I learned. First, I learned the very hard way that some things just don't work. For example, my first graduate project in the lab was probably the one I learned the most from. After spending close to a year to make a series of molecules, I'd finally succeeded. I was so excited. And all the while, the more experienced and wiser grad student in the lab was shaking his head from left to right, as though he already knew that my dreams were going to get shattered. But I was still so excited. And on the day that everything was going to come together and I could wrap up this study in a nice little bow and submit it for publication, came the little green goblin of negative results. Nothing had worked. It was only now, looking back, that this was such a valuable lesson in my training. A year's worth of research can lead to a devastating negative answer. Pulling that all-nighter didn't give you the A that you were hoping for. Your perfect presentation that you spent countless hours preparing might be subject to the tragic stall because it's not compatible with that old PC in the classroom. But there was something to learn in each of these. This was the time to pick yourself back up and reevaluate and keep pushing forward. Your network of family and friends kept you sane in these times of crises. Your mentor might have been even harder on you because he or she knew that you could come back stronger. Your presence here today is testament to that. It's also important to realize that our future is not defined by the diploma sitting in our hands. Rather, we must be confident in the skills that we've acquired throughout these years that we spent at Concordia. To think of this degree as a handbook of knowledge, tools, and skills for the next step, whatever that may be. In the words of George Woodbury, defeat is not the worst failure. Not to keep trying is true failure. The second lesson I learned at Concordia is to not let fear get the best of me. As the finish line approaches, it's inevitable to think, what am I going to do next? And am I ready? Having spent almost my entire university experience at Concordia, that thought crossed my mind more than once. To see this through, I wanted to experience another academic setting, and with the help of my supervisor, Dr. Wilds, I got to go to Vanderbilt University in Nashville. It was there that I realized I had nothing to be scared of. I was more prepared than I ever thought I was. You are more prepared than you think you are. Trust in everything you've acquired over the years. J'aimerais féliciter chacun d'entre vous pour vos efforts et vos succès. Prenons le temps de remercier tous ceux qui nous ont aidés au cours de nos études, nos parents, nos bien-aimés, nos amis. Sans eux, notre trajet aurait été pratiquement impossible, sinon très, très difficile. We should all take a moment to commemorate our professors and mentors who have spent countless efforts teaching us, even as far as inspiring us. Dr. Wilds and Nerona, sitting here today, are prime examples of that for me. I'd like to thank the lab community, which has made my experience enjoyable and stimulating. Many thanks to past and present members. In closing, I would like to take a moment to thank those dearest to me, my lovely wife Mina, my parents Dom and Tim, my brother Sean, my grandmother Nana, Ate and Mama, and my many friends who helped me keep sanity. And I'd like to thank you for your attention and wish you all good luck. Thank you.
Dr. Flaherty, it was good to have you back, and thank you for inspiring us this morning. This would be the part of the ceremony where I would ask Provost Graham Carr to come forward to give you his closing remarks. But I always feel flat-footed just about now because I feel like I didn't get a chance to say congratulations to you now that you all have your degrees. So I'll give you my last words before I turn you over to Provost Carr. May the force be with you. Works every time.
Alors, mesdames et messieurs, merci d'être venus en si grand nombre partager avec nous la joie de nos diplômés. Thank you all for being here to celebrate this terrific graduating class of 2016. Now, graduates, I realize you probably want to get outside into the gorgeous weather, have a little bit of a party, and then get on to the next great phase of your lives. But before you do, let's just pause for a moment, take stock of the reality that hardly anybody gets anywhere in life on their own. We all need mentors, partners, collaborators. We need inspiration, support, encouragement. Sometimes, as Derek said, we need a hard reality check, and other times we just need a stroke of good luck. So before you walk out of this hall today and into the next great phase of your life, can I just ask you to pause for a moment and think about some of the people who've helped you on your journey here. Some of them may be faculty members, my colleagues, or staff members sitting up here on stage with us, or back on our campuses in labs, studios, classrooms, the library, offices, doing the great work they always do. Some of them may be your friends and fellow classmates, fellow students sitting in the rows beside you. But there's another group to think about, isn't there? Another group to think about and thank. So graduates, would you please stand up, face the back of this great room, or if you're on stage, just face this great room. Look into the faces of all the people who've helped you to now and thank them for your journey on this special day. And graduates of 2016, if I could just leave you with one last message, and that is that Concordia is a great university with the promise of an even greater future ahead of it. And on this day, there's no better measure of our success or of our potential than you. We will always be your university, and you will always be our best ambassadors. Thank you for having chosen Concordia as the pathway to your future. You honored us with your choice. And now, as this ceremony comes to a close, please allow us to toast you with a vin d'honneur in the lobby outside. Merci, félicitations, au revoir et à bientôt.